Hey, peace, peace, peace. Hey, y'all. Hey, late night. Peace of paradise. All American Aborigines is part two of Fuck Off Fridays. Well, right now it's Saturday. It's still Friday out here on the West Coast, but it's Saturday out there on the East Coast, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Yeah, man. I didn't catch a lot of the brother Jay. Caught the end of it. Like I said, we definitely appreciate his energy and what he brings to the table, y'all. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to Aboriginal TV, man. Dropping that flame. We definitely appreciate that, bro. Hold on a second, yeah. We live. So I want to share the screen. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to kind of, like I said, it's part two of Fuck Off Friday, but I'm just getting into some of the information that we was getting into. I'm saying, yeah. I want to get into some of the information that we were talking about. I want to shout out Crush the Legend first in the building. We got Chief Kokomo said, "Let's get it." Mr. Aboriginal Smith, peace to the guy. Joey, what's happening, brothers? Peace to y'all, man. We definitely appreciate all the support, man. Everybody, yeah, man. We're in the building, y'all. Let me share the screen. Yeah. Here we go, yeah. Yeah, like I say, peace to everybody, man. Um, I kind of want to get back to the etymology online, and also we're gonna get into the Professor Phil Valentine's video tonight. But I wanted to kind of, before we get into that, was again just kind of reiterate some of the stuff that we talked about before. So we're gonna go to the etymology online dictionary, right? Um, yeah. Hold on one second. Yes, etymology online dictionary. We're gonna type in Aborigine again and Aboriginal. The Aborigine. Let's go to Aborigine first because Aboriginal will come from the noun Aborigine. So yeah, it's Aboriginal. Can you click on that C Aborigine down there? I want to go with the noun first. Yeah, let's go with the noun Aborigine. So I just want everybody to know what we're dealing with right now, right? Before we get into this Professor Phil Valentine video on Brother Rich, shout out to Brother Rich, Black Magic 363. But once again, you got to know kind of what we're talking about because if you hear something you don't understand it, then you're gonna be confused. So Aborigine obviously is a person, place, thing, or whatever, first in time, something like that, or whatever. We get into all that. You guys see it. Like, and I wanted to show it so that we don't have a discrepancy in anything. Um, all right. Y'all see that? Aborigines are now 1540, the 1540. And they started changing stuff up, obviously, testing it to other people. But people act like, oh, it still doesn't apply to you, when obviously, if we the Aborigines, the Tauntauns, Indigenous, it all ties back into each other, whatever. Can we go to the Aboriginal so people can see, the differences? But it's just an adjective, it's just describing the first people. Hold on one second. All right, so we're gonna go to this Professor Phil Dodge. I just wanted you guys to see that, read that. I wanted to put it on the screen, and we're gonna break some stuff down as Professor Phil Valentine's Day starts. So hold on one second. Hey, fair use. Hey man, shout out to Brother Rich. Like I said, man, we definitely appreciate his work. Hey, shout out to Hulu too. So yeah, let's go ahead and push play on that. We can probably skip this. Y'all don't hear the audio. Y'all still don't hear no audio. Hey, can you guys hear this? Can I get some ones and some twos? Yeah, we ain't got no sound right now. Yeah, man, hold on. Hey, man, appreciate you guys holding up. We have a little technical difficulties. Hold on one second. Share button.
Huh?
They've been doing it pretty much the last
Okay, think we got it now.
350 years.
We might have to. Can we go back to the
Right now, coming to us,
start? I guess
what
it might be me.
what we built, what the Aboriginal peoples had put together, is now coming apart. It was invaded the first time. We have all these Europeans sitting in the judgment seats that we built, and now it's coming to pass.
He's alive. I'm gonna while I introduce him, I'm gonna write his Cash App and PayPal in the chat. Family, please make sure we already got 500 people in here within 3 minutes. Please make sure all of y'all give something. All right. With that being said, Dr. Valentine, welcome back to the show, my brother. It's always a pleasure having you on here.
Humble thanks, brother. Humble thanks for your kind invitation. And we hope to maximize these precious hours as we come closer and closer to the conflagration, quickening. I feel it's a duty for us, especially all our elders, to come forward and to give some kind of meaning, some kind of direction, some kind of, I guess, empathetic thought to what's getting ready to happen, what's getting ready to go down. Everything that we're saying and has been saying by the elders is now coming through. We see that black acts white and white act black. It's a lot of craziness going on that we're trying to keep the separation, trying to keep the division. And what we're watching is the serpent, what we call the Zionist serpent. They're working their deal. They did it with the French Revolution. They did it with the Bolshevik Revolution. And they've been doing it pretty much for the last, I would say, 250, 350 years. And it's right now coming to us. What we have and what we had, what we built, what the Aboriginal peoples had put together, is now coming apart. It was invaded the first time. We have all these Europeans sitting in the judgment seats that we built, and now it's coming to pass. Forces that want to take us down and bring us back into a monarchical society. They call it socialism, Marxism, communism. That is another form of monarchy. You have no rights. You have no ability to petition for rights. The Constitution, the de jure Constitution that you helped create as the indigenous peoples, the A, starting with A, the articles or A article of Confederation, A Declaration of Independence. Everything that we did was subsumed taken over. And now the second wave that comes in to completely undermine our Aboriginal rule and to take us over again, to put up a whole new master, is on the way. And so if we don't band together and truly understand and understand not only our Moorish heritage, but our Aboriginal heritage that goes back and fuses with the Moorish heritage, then we're doomed. We're back under a whole new form of slavery.
Could you go in, for those who may not know, when you say Moorish or Aboriginal heritage, could you expand on that just a little bit, Dr. Valentine?
Sure. There are records right now that are in the Philippines that tell the true history of the entire planet. And this is why we have so many facts going on there. That's why they want to start World War III, because seven books that tell the story of our Earth plane. And the way that Queen Elizabeth, from what I understand, came into power and was given the mantle of queen was because she had in her possession one of those books. Now, these books are written in gold and silver, and they're written in the precious metals. And a lot of the records contained and what those books contain, part of what's in those books are in the Yale Library. And what has been told to us is that we have Moors, and again, most people, we have to look at those words Moor as not a noun but an adjective. It is actually a descriptive adjective. It's not actually a noun, proper noun. It is something that we've adopted as a description of the skin color, of the hair color, of the hair texture. And there was always a tribal reference to the Moor, Mayan Moor, the Aboriginal Moor. These people were actually describing who were the first peoples, and that is the so-called black man. But as far as the Moors and the Aboriginal peoples are concerned, the Aboriginal peoples of America and the Aboriginal peoples of Africa, when the Continentals were together, there was a separation tens of thousands of millennia ago, and there were cities, there were city-states, there were whole nations that were here long before the European arrived, long before Washington crossed the Delaware and all that nonsense. We had an Aboriginal court, an Aboriginal society, even the Six Nation Confederacy of the Iroquois. All of these were the precursors to what the European came and imitated. Now, why do I say that? Well, I challenge brothers and sisters who doubt the Aboriginal peoples were here and that the Aboriginal peoples had already built a whole society, what we call the Moors today, that you can go to the, say, Utah or to Minnesota or to any of the states and go and look at their Capitol buildings and the dates that they were built. You'll see that some were built in 1789, some were built in 16 and some change. Now, if that's the case, that some of these humongous cathedral-like buildings were built in 1700s, then who was John Wayne running again, chasing Indians and the whole 9 yards? There were huge societies that were here before. This is not new. Now, from what I understand, that the original royalty of England were black, what we call black or Moors, and that the setting up of the so-called 13 first colonies were supposedly black folks trying to estrange themselves from those who in England was imposing their rule upon lands here. Now, everything that you see, this is the thing, because you got to get past the cognitive dissonance that you have been taught for so long. Lies have been going on for so long, you really don't know what's true anymore. The whole history of this particular part of the world has been subsumed by the Catholic Church. It was the Pope said that all history of the Western Hemisphere is no longer going to be spoken on. We will rewrite the history, and this took place right after Civil War, called the Reconstruction. So yes, what we call the Moors versus the Aboriginals, we are fusing together. We call it Moor, but you're going for your Aboriginal status and you're going for your tribal status. And I hate that word tribal because that's another Roman word that they use to identify their holdings that they got by conquest.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was muted by accident. What do you think about with all the talk about reparations going on right now? What's your thoughts on that?
A corporation can't give reparations to Negroes, African Americans, niggers. We don't have or have claimed a nation or nation state. You cannot get reparation unless you are part of a nation or a recognized so-called tribe that can actually trace their blood to the flora and fauna of the land. So African Americans with social security numbers and all the contracts that they have made with this beast government cannot get reparations. Why did the Japanese get reparations? Because they have a nation. Why did the Jews get reparations? Because they had a nation. And that nation can go before the world, I guess the collection of nations and appeal to the fact that they have been damaged. But an African American is a fiat creature created by the corporation. In fact, those two words were pushed upon you by Jesse Jackson and the rest of those boule. So what we have to do today is to claim our Aboriginal status. Your blood is of the land. Prove that your blood is of the land. Go back, check the true history, not the twistery, but the true history of this land, and claim your heritage. That's the only reason that you are suffering at this time, because you are taking on the part of I guess, a ledger slave. You are nothing more than an entry into a ledger. You know, you are nothing more than a bond. You are nothing more than energy that serves the fiat state. Until you withdraw from that state of being, quote unquote, and reclaim your heritage, then you are never going to get reparations. I don't care how much they stomp and cry. And if they do get reparations, quote unquote, it means that they cut a deal with the devil. You have a social security card, if you still have your birth certificate that's being used to leverage debt, if you still have at least 16 contracts with this corporate entity that has gone defunct, there's no more IRS. There is no more United States. In fact, the United States now has to pay $4.6 trillion by 12 o'clock midnight today. And if they don't, watch. So what I'm saying is you're in a defunct corporation, and if you're part of the corporation, if you have an ens legis or a straw man, then a straw man or a slave cannot petition the master for money. It's ridiculous. Until such time as you come out of her, like you people who are religious, come out of Babylon, the only time you are going to be able to petition for regressive grievances is when you're no longer a slave or no longer a paper slave.
Do you think, I've heard some people say that the only way at this point for what you called before the parasitic elite to move forward in this plane of existence is to blend in with the melanated family because of their dying breed at this point. How do you feel about the parasitic elite blending in with the melanated family and becoming what we would call a light-skinned Negro or whatever term we use?
Look at what they did to me and mine. If you were to go into and look at some of the 65 to 85 cousins that I have, you will see that there is a wide range of melanin rainbow, going for the darkest black, going all the way to the lightest fairest. And the mixture and the war and the conquest and the whole 9 yards have done that, especially in the islands where my people are from, the so-called Carib people and the so-called Gullah people that came and mixed together and were shipped over back to the islands during the time of the so-called uncivil war. Mm-hmm. Mixing together, it depends on where you place your brain. Because a man of my color or even lighter, if he was to do a 23andMe and come up and find that he has the blackest of the blackest connection to the land, then he refuses and wants to be in that particular number and refuses to adapt or to actually accept or to cleave or to hold on to his own true heritage, then you know where his head is at. It's where your head is at as well. Because all of us have been deluded or diluted in some way, shape, or form. Trust me, if you're here in the Americas, unless you're just a pure Sudanese or just a pure, what's it called, the brothers that are purple, black, Senegalese, unless you're coming directly from those or ancient original people's stock. I know there's brothers out there that's going to say, hey man, I ain't got no white in me, and I ain't got no, you can't put me in that and all that. Hey, you've been diluted. I don't care what you tell me, in some way, shape, or form. Unless you've been in a cave or someplace where the European has never regressed or transgressed, you've been diluted. And if you ain't been diluted by sex, you've been diluted by the food you've been eating. The melanin is dying based upon the crap that you've been consuming, the stuff that you've been breathing in the air, the water you've been drinking, the vaccinations that you've been taking. Your melanin is no longer the same melanin that was actually connecting you to the sun so that you could speak directly to the voice of God. Everybody's talking about Jesus Christ. Everybody's calling on Allah, naming something that should never be named. Should be something that privately speaks to you from within. Every time we call on the name of the Lord, we already reduce it to us. Every time you call on the name Jesus, you reduce it to our feeble mentality. So how could you be calling on Jesus for anything? You're calling upon the power within. You're naming it Jesus, but then you're taking the power and you're cutting it in half. The name Jesus had really never existed until what, 500 years ago? 600 years ago? The word, the letter J never existed until the 1700s. But the last book of the Bible that you call Revelations, which was actually called Apocalypse, and before that was called the initiation of anointed Iesus. These were the names that you that your history or your twistery should be unfolding for you. You're supposed to be going in and snatching what belongs to you in the form of your own divinity. You don't call on your own gods today. You call on everybody else's gods but your own. And you forgot the names of your God. The Moors, most of the Moors, some of the Moors are snatching back and taking those names and bringing them into prominence again. And the thing is, and here's the thing, those who call on the oldest names of God have the superior claim to this plane. Now, why do I say that? Because with the conquest of every civilization, what's the first thing that dies?
Their God.
Their God. First thing they tell you is, no, you're no longer going to worship your God. Worship our God. You empower us. Your words, the thoughts now go around that language. The language now empowers those who have conquered you. So you can call upon Jesus all the hell you want. You're just empowering the master that gave you that name. So what I'm saying is, metaphysically, we can go back and recount the names that we, from within, were inspired to call the Creator.
Give me an example,
Our
Dr.
lives. Say that again.
Give me an example of an ancient name of God. One of the most ancient names that you have, you know of.
Anu.
Anu.
Unkulunkulu. Okay? Ru. These are some of the ancient names, even going back further. And you got to remember now, those who have taken your name and your power, they're the ones that's using your names for God and using all of your astrotheological sciences, but they have everted it. They've inverted it. All the Messiah, who were the Masons? Who were the Masons? Who were the Masons first? They say, well, the Masons are these people that were bloodletting, they were killing and so forth. No, they weren't. The Masons were trying their best to get back to the ancient sciences after the Catholic Church had been taken over. The Catholic Church began their Inquisition with Torquemada and all these ways to suppress sciences that Da Vinci and all the rest of these so-called supermasters were trying to hide inside of their artwork and in their sciences. So what they did was they created a secret society that would be reminiscent of what it is we did when we were in the secret societies of ancient Kemet. That's why they're so into Egypt, the Rosicrucians especially. But what happened? Back in the 1500s, 1400s, 1300s, going up all the time, the Catholic Church found out that these organizations were undermining the power structure of the Catholic Church. So Cardinal Ricci, Lorenzo Ricci, who was the Black Pope at that time, he commissioned a man named Adam Weishaupt create something called the Illuminati, which was to snatch the name that was given, that they gave to our ancient ancestors, who were the Illuminati. What they did was they infiltrated the Masonic temples at that time, the ones that Elias Shashmo and the rest of them, these Europeans that were trying to cling and hold on to the secrets. And what did they do? The Illuminati began to infiltrate the Masons and then began to subvert the entire teachings. And what did they do? They went in with this Jewish, the Zionists, those are the ones. The Zionists are the ones that actually infiltrated and began to put those rituals that they had from their clans, their societies, their nations, which was bloodletting, sacrificing children, the whole 9 yards. And they began going into Kemet during that time as well. And that's why Kemet was coming down under Akhenaten. Akhenaten was bathing in blood. Akhenaten was trying to get rid of his leprosy, or what he thought was leprosy. He went and built a whole city called Amarna way outside of Memphis so he could practice his new religion. All of this is what the so-called Zionist Jew, not all the Jews. Let's not get it twisted. You got to look at the Zionists. They're the ones that's actually orchestrating everything you see going on there. They run the pornography. They run the pornography institution or industry. They run the pornography industry. They run the Democrats, the Republicans. They run everything now because they own the money. Okay, they're the ones who are kidnapping your children. 22 to 32,000 children, sometimes 200,000 children missing every year in this country. Those are the people that you then align yourself to and bow down to their god Moloch and all the rest of these creatures so that you can make money. That's how they get you. That's how they get you in Hollywood. That's how they get you in the music industry. That's how they get you in the higher orders of politics. You got to go through all those rituals, the bloodletting, the killing of the children. And so now when Trump comes in and says that I'm going to shut all that down, everybody starts hating on him. Do I hate him? No, I ain't got no time to hate nobody. I want to see who's going to help me to make some money and help me to take care of my family. Did Obama do it? Nah. Obama did everything to make sure that the people who were in jail under the Democratic rule with Biden. Remember, it was Biden that wrote that criminal bill and put all these brothers in jail. It was Biden, and y'all getting ready to vote for him. It was Biden that was talking about locking up these predators, and it was then Hillary that came out and started calling them these super predators and so forth. It was the Democratic KKK party that did it. So you don't have any friends up there in this fiat government. You got to play the odds. You got to do like they do in Vegas. Who's the one that's winning right now, and who's the one that can actually help me to start my own business? Y'all need to look at Judge Joe Brown and see what he had to say. You all love Judge Joe Brown? I love me some Judge Joe Brown. He's real. What did he tell you? They asked him if Trump was a racist. He said, I don't think so. He said, well, what's the proof? Well, the proof is that black entrepreneurs were trying to get a loan from banks so they could start a business, and they were failing for years. And somebody said, well, why don't you just go to Trump? They went to Trump. Trump said, what's your business? All right, I'll fund you, but you're going to have to give me back what you owe me plus interest. But when they came back, this is what Judge Joe Brown said now. When they came back and said, here you are, Mr. Trump, here's the money you gave to me, and here's the interest on that. He said, these checks represent the money that I gave you and the interest? He said, yes, they do. And you know what he did? He tore it up. He said, cool, now go do your business. That's a racist. Do you know that he was the one that backed Jesse Jackson to be president? He's the one who put the money up for him. No, remember, he's a racist. I don't care what they playing back and forth in the way of words. Bottom line, who's going to recognize the Aboriginal peoples? Who's the one that you're going to have to? You're going to have to go for the fiat government and the fiat corporation with the fact that you got blood evidence that this land is yours and that the de jure constitution is what you created. These two constitutions we're under right now, the one that's in the 10-mile district of Columbia that they want to make a state. Right now, they want to make the district DC a state. That DC, that's your municipal constitution. That's the Pope. The rest of those other constitutions you got, the territorial constitution, that was the Queen until she abdicated. Your de jure constitution right now is not in effect. Do you know that the flag, the original flag, had the 6-pointed star, not the 5-pointed star?
Now, why is that? Why did they have the 6-pointed star?
Because it is reminiscent of the fact, and they say, well, that's because we were Hebrew Israelites. No, because that's an ancient symbol that the ancient Kemetic peoples and all over the world at that time was talking about as above, so below. The masculine and the feminine coming together. The 6, which was the foundation of all life, which is the carbon molecule 666. We understood that. Matter of fact, why don't you people, your people, go right now and look up the 6-pointed star American flag and see it's the original flag. I know I've been running on. I'm trying to get as much in as possible.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is what the people here for, Doc. Let me use this moment to take a break and let the family know. Once again, family, I'm on live with Dr. Valentine, and I want everybody. We got over 2,000 people. I want everybody to make sure you support the brother Dr. Valentine. I just posted his Cash App, his PayPal in the chat. Let's support this elder for bringing us so much truth and wisdom for decades upon decades. Let's give this man his flowers while he's alive. Make sure you hit up his Cash App or PayPal if you're international. What's going on with Corona right now, with COVID-19? It seemed that it lost a little momentum when the George Floyd thing went down, and now I see they're starting to talk about it again. So what's going on with that behind the scenes, Doc?
Well, behind the scenes is the trials and the indictments that's been handed out. The indictments on Hillary and all of them right now is getting ready to go before the Senate. And they have to testify now. They're getting ready to release all that's been suppressed over the last 2.5 to 3 years. All of the baby killing and the baby, like for instance, those are brothers and sisters who are in New York, for example. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when they set up all them tents in Central Park?
Central Park.
Yeah. Right. Those weren't for COVID. for the babies that they were rescuing under Central Park and all the tunnel system that goes at least 6 to 7 layers deep. And they were bringing them up, but by the time they came to the surface, they were dying in the hands of these special forces that were actually rescuing them down there. This was going on all over the country. Now the COVID, it's funny because when China had released or had talked about the fact that they were suffering under COVID, it only took them 15 days and everybody took their mask off. 15 days. But what happened is the COVID-19 they found was not supposedly a virus, but Italians, after doing a serious experimentation on what was happening to everyone, they found out it was a type of a bacteria, a genetically engineered bacteria that caused a thrombosis in the blood. In other words, caused blood clotting in the lungs. And that's what the people they said were dying from. And remember, they were the Italian scientists were told that they could not perform autopsies. But some of them broke ranks and performed the autopsies and found out that not only were they dealing with a virus, but they were dealing with a serious bacteria. Now, here's the word that I got from overseas. They're getting ready to release, and hear me, family, a whole new biological weapon. And they said it's going to attack the liver and the pancreas. And this new biological weapon, they're going to call it the scorpion. Y'all hear me now? They're going to call it the scorpion. Now, whether that comes to pass, whether those who know what's going on stops it before it gets to the United States, we'll know. But there is a plan for the next wave. That's why they're getting you to keep the masks on. Why don't you go to the OSHA website? OSHA website, I forgot, it was the Office of Safety and Health Administration. I believe that's what it is. That's the governmental organization that checks to see that the workplace that you're in is safe and is not unhealthy for you to be in. Now, OSHA established that you have to have at least 19.5 or more % of oxygen in your environment in order for you to be healthy while you're doing your work. But what they found when they put on the mask is that the oxygen level in the mask drops way below that 19%. And what happens is you're breathing back the carbon dioxide, which means that you're not getting the full ambient oxygen necessary for you to carry oxygen from the blood to the brain. Now, some people are healthier and stronger, younger people are, so they may not feel that as much, but older people, by doing so, are undermining the very defensive system they need for the next so-called flu season. So you're actually breathing back the filth that your body is supposed to release into the atmosphere that the plants now need. You're supposed to be breathing that so that the plants now take your carbon dioxide and then with the sun create photosynthesis. But what you're doing now, not only that, they find that it drops, and what happens is because you're breathing and you're creating a vapor, all vapors in a trapped environment begins to liquefy on the inside. So what you're creating in there is a kind of a bacterial sewer in your mask. Wow. So you're breathing back in not only the waste, but particles of bacteria that may have grown on the inside of your mask within that period of time. So they come out and tell you, well, you need the mask. But said, no, you don't need the mask. But which is it? It's the fact that you don't need the mask, because if you're dealing with it as a virus, the virus is so small it's going to go through the mask. That's it, because I don't believe any virus can cause anything. You create your own viruses inside That's what it is. Virus is nothing more than cellular waste, organelles, cellular waste that your body wants to get rid of. Okay, if you have and you can identify a specific virus by its nature and by its design and so forth, then that means that it's artificially created. You create your own virus. Everybody's virus is different because everybody's body is unique. So the viruses that you create, Brother Rich, and the viruses that I create are different because we're different. To say that you're going to catch my virus versus anybody else's virus is ridiculous. So here's what I say to the brothers and sisters. Sometimes I shout it out inside of the stores when I come in. When I go into the store and I leave and I see everybody walking around with their masks. It's ridiculous. There's people sitting around in their cars with masks on.
I tell you, people jogging. People out there 88 degrees and they're jogging with them. I don't know how they're able to do it.
It's ridiculous. That's why I say to everybody when I'm leaving out of some stores, I say, masks are for sick people. Okay? Masks are for sick people, not healthy people. Therefore, you're not wearing a mask if you're healthy. You're wearing a muzzle. And they only muzzle dogs and slaves. If your mindset is one of a slave, then you're wearing a muzzle. You're feeble of your mind. You don't think for yourself. You don't do your own due diligence for yourself. And you're suffering because of your ignorance and because you've become so passive. There's the fight in us anymore. We old folks, we're the ones fighting and dealing with it. Now you let Antifa do the fighting for you and they're being paid by Soros. They come into your community, little white kids with their black masks on, and they rip up and destroy your black business and put Black Lives Matter. And that's another thing about Black Lives Matter. If y'all into Black Lives Matter, you got to remember that they're a Marxist organization, and they're not even an organization that can take gifts, or they're not a real, beneficial organization. They're a slush fund for the Democratic Party. Black Lives Matter. If you go up there and type Black Lives Matter and look at donation, click the donation, it goes to a particular organization that's the oversight for Black Lives Matter. And then when you look at that organization and you see who it is that they allocate all them funds for, you see Bernie Sanders, you see Biden, and you see every Democrat is making 110 million, 120 million, 80 million, 90 million. All the money that's filtered through Black Lives Matter is going to the socialists and the communists and the Marxists. Why? Because they couldn't get any money for Biden. Biden is a doddering idiot. He's a fucking fool. Excuse my expression. And what are they doing? They're pushing him up there. They push people in Russia and they push people all over the place. They push the doddering fools so they can control them. And since he was out there acting fool, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. As soon as he said that, all the money that was coming in, he couldn't get any more money. So they had to do what they did with the Floyd deal. They had to stage a Floyd killing in order to take the minds off of one, the indictments that's coming down, and number two, the fact that the Democrats couldn't raise any money. Now they're raising tons of money from overseas. Black Lives Matter, Soros is coming out with billions right now to undermine the United States as we know it today. So everybody said, well, the hell with it, man. Let it all come down. You're a damn fool if you think that way, because this is your country, fool. All right? We can take care of this. Once you assume your true identity and stop being a nigger, Negro, and an African American, then you can assume what belongs to you. You can go back and take land. You can assume the power and the superior claim to the land that is yours. You ain't got to fight nothing. In fact, Noble Drew Ali said that the army is yours. But once you assume your righteous aboriginal status, that the deal was made that the army would protect you. But they ain't going to protect an African American. They ain't going to protect a nigger. They ain't going to protect a Negro or a colored person. So until you adopt your status You have no right to say anything. You could bitch and moan all you want. You could march. It don't mean nothing. You better stay away from them Antifa, because Antifa is you see them colors, red and black?
Yeah.
Anarchy. Go back to 2000 and what is it? 8, when Obama was elected. Go back then. And you want you to look at the color of the dress that Michelle Obama was wearing.
Red and black, right?
Of what the children were wearing. Telling you right then that they were the anarchists and they had assumed that was the next stage. They were in a 16-year plan, and Hillary Clinton was supposed to be the one that brought us into war with China. She wasn't supposed to lose. So I'm bringing you up to speed so that you don't know, because you're listening to CNN, which is the Confusion Network, News Network. You're listening to MSNBC or MSDNC, they call it. CBS, NBC. All of these are under the CIA protocol, Project Mockingbird. These people ain't reporters. These people ain't journalists. They're reading a script that's written for them by the CIA. You're not getting any news. You're only getting the blues. Period. So, I mean...
What do you think? Is there any trusted news source out there that's on TV that you think our people, like BBC or any of them?
No. I see sometimes when I'm going around, I'm looking at Fox News. They have a little branch where they may tell you something different. But I don't trust none of the news that's on the air. I go off grid. Remember, you become the reporter now. It's you got the camera. It's your eyes and your camera that's actually telling the true news. And when you see this man, you see people getting shot, cops shooting us, we know what's going on with that. We know who to go after. And you're going to wait around for these people to give you justice, you're a damn fool. You understand what I'm saying? But what I'm saying to you is that if you don't consolidate, come out of it, go and check out the Moors. You can go over to Moorish Science Consulate.org. I believe that's the Moorish American Consulate, I believe, .org. Forgive me if I didn't get it right, but like I said, I'm going to be talking about this, Brother Rich. I have a major webinar, because you have no idea how deep this is going. You have no idea how evil the situation is, what we're getting ready to go under. Check out the July 19th. Put July 19th down. I'm going to give a major webinar. If you are interested in joining and being part of that, I know I said I was going to do one earlier this year, but like I said, many things happened that kind of circumvented that. I am right now in the throes of my university, and we are now having our summer semester. But I'm putting aside time so that I can actually put the message out. Because when this thing hits for the 2020 election, if you do not have your Aboriginal status in place, if you do not know what it is you have to do in order to not be put into camps, if it comes to that, you better listen, tune in. The 19th of July, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. 19th of July, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. If you wish to be part of that, you can call 800-847-1291 and 800-847-1291, or you can get on our mailing list by going to our university's website at uksnow.org. That's uksnow.org. And if you have pop-up blocker, you may have to go in and put it into, I forgot where, the women are the ones who take care of that. But if you get a pop-up, put your email in there and you go directly into our mailing list. But you would want to be there for the 19th. It's going to be seminal.
That's July 19th, right?
That's
time?
Correct, brother. July 19th.
What time are you having it?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Mm-hmm. Y'all heard that, family. July 19th, 3 p.m. It's going to be off the hook, family. Make sure y'all there. And I'm glad that you are going to go that route and teach the people about, nationality and all that stuff. I think that's something that this internet generation, back in the days, the LIU days, a lot of people was up on it, but that's something this internet generation, the Facebook and the Instagram generation, there's not really a lot of concrete knowledge out there for them to investigate that type of information. So that's going to be real good, Dr. Valentine.
Indeed, brother, indeed. You know, you're one of the more astute brothers out there that know the deal. And, the very fact that brothers who are elders, sisters who are elders, are so happy that brothers like yourselves are out there, because this is the kind of science that can get lost or be put to sleep for 2 or 3 generations, and it takes even harder to try to get it going. The information that we have, that we're doing, what we're doing here today, it has to maintain a momentum, if you understand what I mean. If it doesn't maintain a momentum with brothers and sisters like yourself, promoting and pushing forward the truth, telling people to go into alternative means to find out, to do their due diligence, there has to be maintained a momentum of interest, a momentum that would keep people clawing at the curtain of illusion, clawing at the curtain of lies, to tear it open to find the truth. That needs strength. It needs dedication. It needs the kind of will power that a lot of people are missing. A lot of y'all brothers and sisters are missing. That's why we have the university, and that's why every now and then I put together these webinars.
Indeed, very, very much needed. What's the next? A lot of people are thinking about money at this time, Dr. Valentine. What do you think is going to happen with that financial system this year and next?
We're going to be going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, just go ahead. What should we prepare for financially?
Get ready for a cryptocurrency system. The cryptocurrency system is getting ready to come into play. We found that the major banks, there's no more money, that they've been working on getting a structure in place so that you can buy cryptocurrency. In fact, PayPal and Venmo have now become estuaries and sites where you'll be able to buy Bitcoin and trade Bitcoin and use Bitcoin in order to pay and to give gifts. So the cryptocurrency system is in place. It's been run by the CIA and the NSA. So don't think that this cryptocurrency system is autonomous and is something that's beyond the government or beyond the control of the people who created it. There's a lot of people promoting that out there, that the algorithms that are somehow, the way that the algorithms are actually spread out across the entire globe, that these people don't know about that. They already set up the AI system some 10 years ago, and even longer than that, to create the system that was going to go cashless. And Bitcoin was the experiment. And the experiment was very successful, as you see, because Gates himself owes over $10 million, $20 million, or something like that of Bitcoin. So know that the cryptocurrency market is where you want to go for silver. Make sure you can get the cheapest silver you can get is the Buffalo nickel, the Buffalo line. That's what we got right now to go to the next step of our retraction from this system. You can get gold, but gold is actually is not a spendable currency. It's not a liquid currency. It's actually a reserve. It's a reserve currency. You hold on to it. You don't spend it. So you can get gold, but don't think about spending gold. That's a reserve currency for you to leverage and to to give worth to your money. In other words, it's a reserve currency. It's not a spending currency. Silver is 99.999% is what the coin of the realm, and that's what the Coin Act said, or true currency and true money is. So anything backed by 99.99% silver is the coin of the realm, so to speak. I would diversify. There is something that is getting ready to come onto the market. I've been talking to some good brothers who are some noble brothers. There is a coin that is a black coin. It's called the Nami, and you'll be hearing a lot more about that. And it's worth 9 times. I think it's 9 for every 9. For every Nami, there's $9, and that's the lowest. It doesn't go below that 9 number. In other words, it may go to 8.5 in worth, but it stays at 9. It's backed by the land. It's backed by the gold. It's backed by the entire gold on the planet, and it's it's what you call a reserve source that is infinite. And once you get into your Aboriginal status and the specific platforms are set up, people of Aboriginal descent who has declared their Aboriginal status can get into the Nabi and negotiate and deal with business and commerce through the Nabi.
What do you think about the stock market? Would you recommend that at all?
Stock market itself is really it's running on spit and fumes. What you're looking at are, I would say, if you want to get into futures, if you want to get into, say, produce, oranges, and so forth, yeah, you can get into those. But if you want to get into where the money is going to be, futures, dealing with technology, dealing with the newest technologies, and you're going to see some of the most incredible things that have been coming from Japan. I've been privy to be shown some of the technologies that's coming out of that's been there actually. Yeah, remember I told a lot of my brothers and sisters. I told a lot of my brothers and sisters that there's technologies that's at least 100 years ahead.
Right.
Well, they're going to start showing it, and Trump has made it his business. What he says that he's going to start revealing in his the next run of his presidency, he's going to start revealing what these technologies are and how we may be able to get access to them.
What's up with Trump's Space Force? Is something going on in outer space?
I don't trust that. I don't trust that at all. There's no Space Force because there's no space. I know what the Space Force is. It's going to be 10,000 balloons floating overhead watching the planet. That's exactly what it is that you see Google did. Google said we're going to launch a satellite, and when we found out what the Google did, they launched a balloon. That's your satellite. Ain't no such thing as satellites. A lot of nonsense. You may have some things that's floating up above there, and they have to, keep, like a drone, drone. That's what you're dealing with. A lot of they're spending billions of your tax dollars to make you believe you're going to Mars and so forth. If you're going anywhere, to get out of where we are, you have to go interdimensional. You have to shift dimensions to go outside of this into another dimension. You got to go through like a wormhole because the entire reality that we're in right now is water. Most people will say, well, you're nigga into flat earth. Yeah, you can call it flat earth all you want. It's flat plane. And right now, the consciousness that actually keeps us consolidated in this particular reality is under challenge. Entities that have been living here underground, that has in dealing with humanity, that they were told to leave. They never left. It was 2004. They had until 2004 to get their asses out of this reality. They did not. The war is going to be underground. You may see a couple of them in the skies. You may see a few lights. What you're going to look at is what HARP and the rest of these types of Tesla technologies are doing, using Project Bluebeam to make you believe that aliens is going to attack. In fact, Werner von Braun said that. He was the one who helped to start NASA. Werner von Braun was the Nazi who actually helped to develop Nazis' rocket science. We snatched him up and brought him over here, and he created NASA. NASA, which means illusion. If you're looking into the Hebraic Kabbalah, word NASA, NASA, means illusion, and I didn't lie to you for the longest. So when he started it, he said, you're going to see, first of all, World War I, World War II. This is how they're going to start taking over. World War I, World War II. And you're going to see World War III, he saw. But then right after World War III, or before they can meet World War III, what comes right after that? Alien invasion. Instead, this is what the so-called deep state or the Illuminati had planned. Make you to bring everybody to consolidate so that we have a one world government. They're going to use the technology to make you believe that you're being attacked by aliens. And what happens is everybody's going to say, oh my God, like Independence Day, we all got to come together now to fight this one common enemy. And in that way, they can now assume control of the planet because everybody's going to be consolidating to fight this. And this is exactly what the coronavirus was meant to do. Bring us all together to be slaves, to lockstep to an idea that will bring us into our own mental and physiological prisons. You ain't dying from anything that most people who have weak constitutions are dying from. Yet still you are talking about standing 6 feet apart, talking about not touching each other, wearing gloves and all this. Y'all going crazy. And y'all going to get sick just from doing what it is that they're forcing you to do. And I suggest you go up on the OSHA website, OSHA, and you look at it and tell your manager that the government says that I must have breathing space and I must not be wearing this mask because this mask is causing me to get sick. Have that right. Go to your business. Go up to the OSHA website and look at what it takes to have a healthy working environment. This is the law. All right? And they're making you break it. I'm sorry. Running on again.
Hey, that's people want that, my brother. I mean, it's some powerful information you're discussing, and especially you drop the whole science of us breathing in the carbon dioxide. The family definitely needs to hear that, Dr. Phil. They can't hear it enough because nobody else is talking about this on mainstream media.
Right.
In terms of, we're always looking and talking about aliens in outer space. You talked about down below or under the ocean. Well, what exactly is going on down there? I know Blair mentioned the inner Earth at one time. Well, what exactly is going? Is our government in contact with different species under the ground?
Yeah, that's what I was told. I didn't believe it. I'm trying. I put it out there for everybody to say, well, just in case you run into this information, here's what I found. And a lot of people say, well, you said this, Dr. V. I said a lot of things. I said it because, listen, here's something you haven't really considered. You look at all of my materials. I mean, 85 to 90% I was accurate in. The other 10% was because I heard and saw certain things, and I put it out there for you to do your own due diligence and tell me, nah, that ain't what it is. Fine. If it ain't what it is, I'm glad that you could help me. You understand? For a fact that there is a hollow earth. There are what you call maglev trains, at least 2 to 3 miles under the earth. There are trains that run on magnetic levitation under the earth. There are laboratories, whole cities under the earth, going 5 miles down. there are machines that are so humongous that they can burrow a hole in the earth the size of, twice the size to 5 times the size of the Holland Tunnel. There are technologies right now that are being used by special forces to fight those entities that are down there that you wouldn't believe. The type of technology they have. Matter of fact, I introduced it in the 1990s, some of these ray guns they had that can paralyze you, that can even kill. You wouldn't believe the technology these people are wielding. And they don't want to let you know about it because then you're going to be curious at the fact that they got these super technologies and why ain't we using it? Why ain't we got it? They don't want it getting in the hands of their own people. So I know that there are technologies way underground right now. There's a fight going on right underground right now. And I know that the human blood and the adrenochrome, that is the greatest and most powerful hallucinogen on the planet right now, is the blood of babies. You won't believe what it is that's happening to our children. They steal our children. In fact, Rabbi Abraham, what was his name? Rabbi Abraham Leibowitz, I believe, came out and did an interview with a Christian minister. How true this is, I don't know. But I think what is his name? Was it Leibowitz? Rabbi Abraham Leibowitz? I think it was. But he ran down all of what it is they do on Passover. He says, we kidnap your children. You are the goyim, your cattle, and nothing but animals. And our Bible, our book of the law says that we can kill you with impunity. We can drink your blood. We can mix it with our matzah, and then we could eat it. And we could, and the bodies of the children, we grind them up in the slaughterhouses that we own. We put them into the McDonald's burgers. And everybody was saying, well, no, that ain't real. That ain't real. Well, he was saying that, yeah, we count on people to say that it ain't real. We count on people to say that it's a lie. We count on people to say that those people who tell us the truth are crazy. Well, you know what? From what I understand, I think it's people. Please, anybody who knows what the name of this rabbi was, because I think a month later they found his ass dead because he came out and told everybody what was going on in the Jewish community, the kidnapping of black children. In fact, every time you go into the hospital and you think that that child that did not make it, that died, you think that those children that died in childbirth, they didn't die in childbirth, they were kidnapped or they were killed.
His name is Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein.
Finkelstein.
Shout out to Brenda Anderson for giving that.
Thank you, baby girl.
Yeah.
Yes. So you think that the life that you live in your little pristine spaces and the so-called black power, they using you, and they got these 3 women from this black guys matter. These 3 dykes actually are paid shills. What you're looking at is people who are studying Marx. I told you this. I told you when Black Lives Matter came out and I wrote that particular piece about them on Facebook. Man, you should see some of the people who's coming at us. Oh man, what are you saying about that, man? They're talking about they're using triggers. They know how to use cattle. Black people, they say, well, we use them. We do. Who you think is the ones who backed Martin Luther King? Martin Luther King was backed by the Jews. And he was pushing socialism. And that's why at the end, when it was coming to the end, he said, I may have actually led my people back into a burning house. Because he came to find out after he got together with Malcolm, listen, this is what the real deal is. Malcolm went overseas and he said, here's who the real demon is. You think communism was created? What do you think happened with the French Revolution? It all started with an Antifa-like group that was financed by the Zionists, who were actually under the spell of the Vatican at the time, who were under the spell of the Jesuits. So when you look at what was going on in the Bolshevik Revolution, it was always to destroy the monarchy or the ruling leadership of that nation and to subsume their power and take it over. The same way they did with the Bolsheviks, they had the same way they did with the Nazis. Who do you think were the brown shirts? Look at the Nazi brown shirts, the young Hitler Youth, who George Bush Sr. used to be a part of. Who do you think the brown shirts were? Look at the flag of the brown shirts for the Nazi youth who used to destroy and go after the Jews. They used to go after even Germans. And they used to go after the blacks that were in Germany at that time as well and kill them too, beat them up. Look at the flag of the brown shirts of the young Nazi youth and look at the Antifa flag. It's the same thing. And this is the same plot used by the Jews. Remember, the Jews ran the Nazis. Who you think Schicklgruber was? Adolf Schicklgruber. Adolf Hitler. Schicklgruber, his father, Alois Schicklgruber, was the bastard son of Rothschild. So now what do we have? We have the same plan that undermined the French Revolution, that went after the Bolshevik Revolution, and there was another revolution that we were dealing with. All the revolutions that you see, World War I, World War II, and the planned World War III with Hillary got in. All of it is this Zionist snake working through the Vatican. They already took over the Vatican. Who do you think this priest Francis is? He's a Zionist. The Zionists already took over the seat of throne of Peter, and they're running it. And they got part of Trump too. Had to appease them. Using
Yeah, that's the great Professor Phil Valentine going in. Yo, shout out to the Professor Phil Valentine. Definitely dropping jewels, man. Let me put the link in the chat room, though, man. Link in the chat room. I'm gonna discuss what y'all just heard from the carbon monoxide, from the mask to I don't know if he got to alien abduction yet, yeah. But yeah, he gets into all of that. Shout out to 2 a.m. Just like in the chat room, yeah. What y'all thought about that? Uh, yeah, man, Professor Phil Valentine went in though. He said Aboriginal. Woo. Said, man, tap into your Aboriginal identity. And most of this is just about identity, y'all. You know, we broke a lot of the Aboriginal stuff down. So yeah, man. Shout out to everybody, man, tuned in, man. Uh, it's fuck off Friday still, y'all. Even though it's Saturday, it's fuck off every day, but it's fuck off Friday, part two. Yeah, he was talking about the bloodletting. It's a real thing, y'all. You know what I'm saying? When they talk about yeah, hey man, peace of the tribe, man. We're in the building. Um, talking about the bloodletting and things like that or whatever, right? This is a real historical thing. These people have been kicked out of several countries throughout history, what I'm saying, for bloodletting, for degenerative behavior and things like that. And he said that, that they own just about everything, what I'm saying? But these are the same people that run the porn industry, but there's also, publishing, religious books and things like that, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I gotta be careful, man. Watch your children, man. Hold them tight. Don't take your eyes off of them, man. For sure, for sure. Because they definitely out here looking for them. Hey, Miss Sylvia Williams is in the building. Miss Carleen McLean, big ups. We got Big Chief. Big Chief is in the building. Who else? We got Vulture, I Hyena Chief, OCO, Jazzy Zy Fox, Uga Uga, High Vibes Empress. What else we got up in here? T1 Production, Aim Major. What up? What up, Major? That's why I'm scared to go to the ocean. I'm scared to get on the boat. Just don't trust it. Nah, man, we're going to go out to the lake, man. Take you out to the lake, man. What's up, man? Get on one of them boats, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about that. Hold on, so we got in the building. Um, Chief Wildfires in the building. What's up, big homie? He said he's saying it way too late. I don't know when he was saying it, since and I was more interested in the Aboriginal side of it, but he seems to feel like, just like we feel like, that's kind of a part of the solutions that we have is tapping into our Aboriginal, tapping into this land, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that needs to be examined. South Wind is in the building. Piece of the goddess. We got Miss Zach. What up, dude? Cat in the Hat, Cat in the Fizz. I ain't black, I'm brown from the boogie down. That's right, that's right. Uh, Mr. Darkfly Brother number one, Shalom, Peace of the King. ATF All Time Flat, aka Chief Copperfoot. Peace of the God, man. What's up, brother? What you been up to? Okay, Miss Gretchen Ham is in the building. Peace, Empress. We definitely appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Um, Yeah, man. Like I said, man, it's a definitely good build with Professor Valentine. Like I said, the Aboriginal concept and everything is very important to what we're trying to do, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It ties us socially, politically, economically to our land, to this conversation, and that's why Scott Beason, what I'm saying, had to apologize because he got caught saying some stuff that basically says in his self-conscious, but no, they're having these conversations because they know who the American Aborigines are. And it's just too much evidence for that not to be happening. You know what I'm saying? We got Haru Duke of the Great Lakes. OCO, brother. Thanks for coming in. DOT, what it do? Water Life. Yeah, man, we definitely appreciate everybody, man, that holds us down, man. We're gonna definitely hold y'all down. Cash App giveaway tonight. Um, what does Ooga Ooga mean? Hit me up, chiefholiday@gmail.com, man. Even if you don't need it, man, you might know somebody that needs something, man. And like I said, hey, Mr. Brooklyn, I'm definitely gonna holler at you, brother. See what's happening with that. What else we got going on, y'all? Phil look anxious. Kettle is better. Bubbly, what? What is going on? Man, he had that mustache and beard was interesting. Um, I thought that was an interesting look, but but it definitely kind of went with everything, the conversation and everything. Like I said, hold on, just make sure. It went in, yeah. Hold on, Aim is in the building. Aim Majors in the building. What's up, brother? Peace. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can you hear me, bro? Mic check 1 2.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, bro. That's good,
Uh,
man.
so I was listening to what Dr. Valentine was saying. He made a lot of good points and shit. You know what I'm saying? I never take everybody word for it, for you know what I mean, for what it is. But he did make some good points, and I just wanted to get your opinion because Juneteenth just passed, and I posted because I say I do a lot of my builds on Facebook, so I post like 500,000 slaves, well, Negroes, not slaves, 500,000 Negroes was free in 1830. I know you know this history. I just want your opinion. 1830, 500,000 Negroes was already free prior to 1865, allegedly when they freed the slaves. And a lot of people wasn't feeling what I was saying, that slave means to be white, and that the first slaves that came here was white. A lot of people got mad at me about that shit, man. But I was dropping some jewels on them. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't deny the facts. You know what I mean? I was posting the links, the sources. I just want to get your views on Juneteenth because a lot of our people was really celebrating that shit. And I don't think that's a holiday for us, me personally, for Aboriginals. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us was already free prior to 1865.
Hey, bro, I missed it. I kind of broke up for me. Can you say the last part again, bro?
I said, well, a lot of our ancestors was already free prior to 1865.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just impossible to enslave a whole race of people, bro. That is the game that they pushing on our people, fam. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? It's a slavery, employment, apprenticeship, color. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know what I mean? And then I was thinking, because I was doing research on like cameras. So cameras was around the time all these so-called slaves was being brought to America. And not yet have you seen the actual photo of a slave ship or any niggas getting off of a slave ship. But yet you'll see photos of niggas in fields, which we know they wasn't slaves. They was either, the plantation owners or they were employees. 'Cause a lot of our people owned plantations and had slaves, white slaves. So it's like, people don't even think of like common sense. Like they was taking pictures of all these Native Americans. Not once do you see a picture of a slave ship or a nigga getting off a slave ship. But people don't think about that. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And cameras was around and invented. Like the first camera was like 1807, I think. You know what I mean? So it's like they could have. All you see is drawings, and these drawings don't even make sense. You know what I mean? It's just like so when people were celebrating Juneteenth and they had a whole little celebration out here in Vegas, and it kind of was pissed me off because I'm like, you celebrating being a slave, and you don't even know if your ancestors were slaves, or y'all ain't even did the research. You just accepting this narrative. It just was pissing me off, bro.
Yeah, man. This shit. I mean, once again, like we said though, it would be different. It would be different if we didn't have like evidence of them tampering with history. You know what I'm saying? And we talk about the Daughters of Confederacy, what they did after Reconstruction and stuff like that. Are you hip to that?
Yeah, I am the Reconstruction and how they rewrote history, and I mean, the far as the information I do research, but I know you well ahead of the research I've done. Like I can probably name a book, and you probably, man, I didn't read that 5 times. So it's like I'm still new to it, but I still teach my people as I go. You know what I mean? So like I was telling people, like you saying that your ancestors were slaves. I'm like, are you European? Are you a Slav? Are you German? Are you Hungarian? Are you from Russia? And they was like, no, that's not what a slave. I said, black and slave is not synonymous. You can't be black and be a slave. Well, now you can because they rewrote history. But in those times, if you were a slave, you were not black. You were white. You know what I mean? But people are so indoctrinated by school and the media. Like you, that's what Brother Valentine said. The media is indoctrinating us to a full capacity. People don't even think for themselves no more. They go straight to the news and whatever the news say, they take that as fact and don't do no further research. And you're just like, man, our people are so behind. Not all of our people, because a lot of us that are, I mean, coming to the light, but most of our people are so behind. And then they want to argue with you like you know what I mean? The bad person is like, nigga, like I do research. You can't tell me shit about shit because I actually done the research. You know what I mean? Like I know my ancestors was never slaves. None of my grandparents ever were slaves, classified as slaves on my daddy's side, my mama's side. None of my, you know what I mean? Like I actually know who my great great grandparents' name is. A lot of these niggas don't. They can't tell you their grandmama name. You know what I mean? So it's just like that's where I'm at with it, man. I just wanted to get up on here, man, and chop it up with you because it's been a minute. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, man. Um, I mean, yo, it's just crazy. Hey, was you did you catch part one of Fuck Off Friday?
Nah, I mean, I was
Did
with
you
my
catch part
daughter,
one?
man. I didn't catch the
Okay.
first part, but yeah, I was with my daughter,
Oh,
man, doing daddy
okay.
talk,
So it was a conversation. I don't know if you were hip to it. There was a brother that said that our ancestors, the Indian is indigenous to our ancestors, right? And 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 he went and broke it down from Andes, and he talked about the Andes Mountain. I went and broke down Andes, and it goes to Anti, Anti, but Anti means
means
east.
east. Yeah, okay, I caught that part right before you left.
You
Yeah,
caught
I
that
caught
one?
that.
Okay.
I caught that
So
part
that
right before
kind
I
of
left.
that's kind of like checkmate right there. We don't have to go too much further, but it just breaks it down. But even the Quechua people, all these different tribes and stuff, people are um, are created tribes, and so when they don't let people into the tribes, as a sister Aboriginal woman, she was saying that she was trying, or people were Lumbee, and they wouldn't let her into the Lumbee tribe, and I was like, well, Lumbee, this is a created tribe. It's comes from lumber. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so a lot of these tribes are created and made up. So, what tribe do you identify with?
Well, on my on my mama's side, they were in Choctaw. They were from Tallulah, and Tallulah is Choctaw for Lady of Water or Lady of Leaping Water or some shit like that. So that was Choctaw territory. But I honestly don't connect with none of these tribes because I know that they all renamed, recreated. You know what I mean? Reformed. Like on my daddy's side, they of course Cherokee, but mainly Blackfoot. Like, but I don't identify with any of these because we don't know the true names of them. Like, we don't know what our ancestors are truly calling them. You know what I mean? But I know that my people come from America, and that's why I'm an American Negro. That's what I identify as. Like, I'm a copper colored American Negro. I'm even not even using the term Indian as much now because people are still so stuck on you say Indian, they think of the crying Indian. It's like nigga, like Indy comes from indigo. Like it's Indy by itself to me it's dark. You know what I mean? Like, and then he said, well, the red Indians. It's like red Indians is red is a color of copper. Like red is still a shade of brown. If you look up a red color palette, you're gonna see mahogany. You're gonna see different shades of brown. You're gonna see some pink. You're gonna see all these different shades. You know what I mean? But none of them look like the motherfuckers that's on these reservations. So I don't identify with none of these motherfuckers, man. To be honest with you, bro.
Yeah, bro. You still working on music, man?
Yeah, man. I made a beat yesterday, or yeah. I haven't been recording, but I still make beats and shit every night when I feel it.
Man, I'm about to
Gotta,
ride down on you and check you out, see what you got.
man, we can link up, man. If I ain't with my daughter, man, like I work one day a week, man. I'm still trying to get into barber school. It's like all this bullshit, man, it fucked up
Right,
my
right,
barber
right.
school start. Like I was supposed to start way back in March. I was excited, and then my
You
goddamn they
you you
posted.
make house calls?
Nah, I haven't even been cutting, bro. Like I just been literally on daddy duties, bro. Like I go to work one day a week, and I'm just with my daughter. You know what I mean? I took her to Adventure Dome yesterday. I just been on daddy duties, bro. I just been on daddy duties. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I make my money on the side, but I ain't been cutting to make my money. You know
That's
what I mean?
cool. That's cool, cool, cool. Yeah, definitely touch base with me, man. Let's link up. You know,
You still in the
see what's
city?
going down. Yeah, man.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we can
I'm out
definitely
here
link
on
up.
Flamingo right now.
Shit, nigga. Man. Hey, when they open up the casino, hey, Chief, tell me about the first day they open up the casino. Well, some of the station casinos, man. I hit for 600, man. I put
Nah, I
in,
don't
man.
gamble, bro. So
I
I
don't
just
either. I don't either. But I was bored.
I don't
They're
do
just
it at
like,
all.
I was bored. I put in, man. I put in like 100, man. I hit for six and some change, man. I was like, God is good, man. And I got up. I ain't been back since. But yeah, all this shit is just too
Yeah, you
much,
hit
man.
left. L
Yeah,
Boogie, what it do?
you know what I mean? But I'm gonna get up out of here, Chief, man. I just want to chop it up with you. It's been a minute, man. You have a great night, brother.
Well, yeah, you too. Hey, well, I was wondering, like, when we were talking about people that talk about Juneteenth, man.
Oh yeah,
Like I said, man, you can't have Juneteenth if you don't have slavery. It just doesn't exist, right?
exactly.
It's
No,
just it's a concept, it's a term, that they're using to distribute social political power. Hold on a second. I'm back, y'all. So, yeah, man, we definitely appreciate the support and everybody, man, come through, man. Man, if nobody want to come through, man, we'll go ahead and shut it down, man, and we can get back at this thing um, later, man. I don't know. Happened at 2 a.m. Hey, Lolly Stars in the building. Peace, Empress. Definitely appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoy that Professor Phil Valentine's. Um, it was definitely a great conversation we had with Brother Rich. Shout out to Brother Rich, man. Hopefully, man, we was ready to go over there, chop it up with Brother Rich him or whatever. It was a couple things, like I said, man. No, you don't have to agree with everything that somebody say, but definitely soak it up and take it in. So we're gonna make it happen though. So yeah, man. Somebody else is gonna come in, man. We're gonna get up out of here, y'all, and catch you guys later. Okay, where we going? Peace and love to the tribe. We out. You see where you from? Oh. Huh? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.